music, passion, and golf balls. I'm all about being passionate about, caring so deeply about something that it doesn't take over your life, but it's just a good part of your life. So, when my dad was in chemotherapy, he went by this motto about how, there's this video on YouTube, it's called Golf Balls, or something like that, and it's basically about, this professor is teaching his students about different aspects in your life, and he first starts out by putting a jar on his table and putting golf balls in it, and the students are all confused, and he goes, this is what you should care about most. These are golf balls. These are your family, your closest friends, your passion for things. And then he puts sand in it, and he says, this is your outer circle. This is your acquaintances and stuff that should be important, but shouldn't take over your life, like that one math problem that is bugging you. And then he puts in gravel, and he says, this is the stuff you shouldn't care about. And although how much you try to care about it, it's not worth it in the end to put so much thought into it. So why try? It's like a person who's giving you a hard time, and they're gravel. Why should you put all your effort into it if it doesn't make any difference? And then he pours in beer, and he says, it's just to make it look better. And then he puts a lid on it. And we actually have a replica of that jar on my counter. And my dad, when he would be in his hospital bed, he'd look at me, and whenever I talked to him about my life, he'd be like, that's a golf ball. That's sand. That's gravel. That's beer. That's the jar. And that was what he went to. He looked at me once and said, you're my golf ball. It's just such a weird compliment, but it was so cute. And on March 30th, 2018, it was after school, my dad sat me down. I was just hanging in my parents' room, and he sat me down and said, listen, I'm going to have to do a bit of chemo. And this was coincidentally right when I was starting to learn about chemotherapy and radiation and biology. And I impressed him with all my scientific terms that I just learned. And he goes, well, you're learning much more than I am. So he just explained to me that he's going to have to go through chemotherapy. And he said, my biggest concern is you and Mom. I'm going to be fine, but I don't want this to change your lives dramatically, because I love you guys so much. Okay, so I spent the night right next to him as he was passing away, and he could have passed away any moment, and I was terrified. So he knew who I was, and I sat next to him, and I held his hand, and I told him all the things that I wanted to say. Like, I'll always listen to our favorite song, Blue Sky, by the Allman Brothers still, and I'll wash the cars, and I'll keep driving the car that was his, and I'll always remember him, and I'll learn how to solo on guitar to his favorite songs, and he just kind of laughed at me. I think I'm more of my dad than I am my mom. My mom's very introverted, and I'm a very extroverted, I don't really care what people think of me kind of person. Like, I don't care. I'm gonna have fun with my life, and if people judge, then they're not my friends. And I hate how nowadays some people don't want to go out and do something that they think they'd have fun, like going to a jumpy house with a bunch of 6-year-olds. I'd do it. I don't care. I'm gonna have fun. I don't care if teenagers look at me, then they're not my real friends. So, my dad was like that too. He'd always make the good out of the situation, and he'd always find a way to laugh, and I love laughing. It's my favorite thing to do. Well, when I was little, my dad used to tell me this joke that I'd make him tell everywhere I went. it was a snail joke, and he would tell the story, and the way he told it was so good, and I'm gonna try and imitate it. So a snail slid up to this man's door, and he opens the door. He looks around, left and right, everywhere, and then he looks down, and there's this little snail, and he's smiling at him. And the man, because it's a snail, picks up the snail and throws it as far as he can. 2 years later, he gets a knock on the door. The man opens the door, looks around, and looks down, and he sees the snail, and the snail goes, "So what was that all about?" And I loved that joke. I don't know why. It's not even that funny, but I found it hilarious. He was my rock and my biggest supporter in life, especially because he was just like me. And it's hard not to wake up and say, I'm going to drive to the hospital today and visit him. And I look at other people who are my age and all have dads. And it's hard to say, I don't have a dad. Why me? What did I do to deserve that? He was 60 years old. He had never been out of the country. And here I am, 16 years old, without him. And I guess, in a way, I get jealous of other people because they can come home to a family. And I don't remember the last time I had that. Because when my dad was in the hospital, my mom was there day and night. So I was living by myself. And I couldn't go there because I had school and all these things to do. So I felt very independent, but also very lonely. And so now my mom is back in the house, and she doesn't know what to do with her life. And I don't know either. So I guess the biggest challenge in my life right now is getting over the fact that it wasn't my fault, it wasn't anyone's fault, and I don't have a father, and that's okay, but I'm still jealous of the people around me that do. I want people to just honor me when I pass, in a way that this person was a good person. I just want to make an impact on people's lives, like a positive impact on people's lives. I want to make them happier, and I want to have adventures with them, and I want to just make really good memories with every single person I meet. If you put effort into all these tiny things that don't matter, but you think they matter, you're never going to be happy. So focus on the golf balls. Focus on your friends that you love. Focus on your family. And focus on yourself. You are the center of that golf ball. And you need to care for yourself and love yourself before you can love other people. And so just make sure to go through life with a smile and laugh. Remember, it's okay to be sad, and it's okay to have bad days. But you only get one life, so live it. So I'm trying my best. I am Ella Schreiner. I'm 16 years old. I love dogs. I miss my dad. I love guitars. I love driving around with all the windows down and playing music on full volume. I love my school, and I'm a person who has a lot of passion, as you can tell, for a lot of things.